like? Okay, a very good afternoon to everyone here. Hi, my name is Sada. I'm a community nurse from SGH. Today, I will be presenting the topic on managing caregiver stress. So this will be the content for today. So first and foremost, let us ask ourselves, our own self, am I a caregiver? Well, anyone can become a caregiver at any point in their life. Often, people see the act of caregiving as the expected duties of parents, spouses, adult children, or other family members. While some people may identify themselves as caregiver, many do not actually realize that they are caregiver themselves, or maybe they are reluctant to identify themselves as such. So now, let us play a game. Actually, it's just a simple checklist to determine if you are a caregiver. It's just a yes or no question. There is no right or wrong answer lah. So you can feel free to share, or if you don't want to share also, it's okay. Let us start. So the first question is, are you sharing responsibility for someone's health, well-being, and safety? Yes or no? Anyone would like to share? Okay, I proceed to the next question. Okay. Second question, are you looking after someone who is not able to take care of himself or herself? Again, it's a yes or no question. Okay, it's okay if you don't want to answer. I will still carry on. Okay, the last question is, are you helping him or her with daily living activities like bathing, feeding, grooming, and walking? Yes or no?
No, 3 no's.
3 no's. Okay, thank you for participating. We got one more question. Hold on. Let me share with you. Okay, last question. Are you taking care of an elderly care recipient who is suffering from physical and or mental illness, disabilities, or other conditions? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Hold on. Okay, so that's it. So if you have answered yes to any of the questions that we have raised earlier, indeed you are a caregiver and you may be providing care for a family member, friend, and or even neighbor. So for those who have answered no to all of the questions, don't worry, you can continue to listen to our health talk as we will be sharing some tips on managing stress and negative emotions such as anger and depression that might benefit you. And that's not all. I would also like to stress that you are also a caregiver if you care for someone who may be frail and elderly with a combination of the following conditions. Number 1, managing one or more chronic conditions. For example, you are caring for a person who has chronic conditions such as stroke or Parkinson. And number 2, mentally ill. For example, you are caring for a person who has a condition like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or depression. Number 3, disabled. For example, a person who may have intellectual, sensory, or physical disabilities. And lastly, having a terminal illness. For example, a patient with end-stage cancer receiving palliative care and or who is near the end of his or her life. Okay, caregiver stress. Why we need to worry about caregiver stress? Well, there are many caregivers who may potentially suffer from physical and emotional strain caused by heavy multitasking, feeling underappreciated, compromising on their personal time, trying to meet high expectations of care, and having to deal with the death of their loved one. It is therefore important to actually talk to someone about it if you are feeling stressed from being a caregiver. And to note that acknowledging your stress is not a sign of weakness. Here are some of the common symptoms of caregiver stress. Feelings of depression and frustration, having constant fatigue, sudden weight loss or weight gain, having insomnia and or having headaches. Okay, let us now do another checklist to check your stress level. Again, there is no right or wrong answer. So just answer yes or no response that best applies to you. So for this one, right, it would be good if you have a pen and a paper with you, because there will be scoring. So I will flash out question by question. So one yes is equivalent to 1 point. And then if you answer no, right, is equivalent to 0 point. So total there will be 9 questions. So maximum point would be 9. And the minimum score will be 0. Everyone okay to proceed? I just start with the first question first. Okay, then we can start slowly to add up our points. So the first question, so in the last 2 weeks, have you been feeling more irritable than usual? Yes or no? So remember, 1 point for a yes. And then if you answer no, is actually 0 point. So at the end, right, you will need to accumulate your points. All okay? Okay, I proceed. So I think I repeat the question first. So in the last 2 weeks, have you been feeling more irritable than usual? Yes or no? 1 point for a yes. And then if no, then it's 0 point. Yeah, then you can share at the end of the 9 questions. Okay, can I continue with the second question? So in the last 2 weeks, have you been feeling more unhappy or resentful about looking after your care recipient? Yes or no? Again, 1 point for a yes, 0 point for a no. Okay, the third question. In the last 2 weeks, have you been having less energy to complete your daily tasks? Yes or no? Okay, next question. In the last 2 weeks, have you been having less interest in attending or participating in social events? Yes or no? Again, 1 point for a yes and 0 point for a no. Okay, next question. In the last 2 weeks, have you been deriving less interest from your favorite activities? Yes or no? Okay, next question. In the last 2 weeks, have you been getting angry very quickly? Yes or no? Again, 1 point for a yes, 0 point for a no. Okay, next question. In the last 2 weeks, have you been feeling tired most of the time? Yes or no? Okay, we proceed to the next question. So in the last 2 weeks, have you been spending less time on yourself as compared to before? Yes or no? We got one more question left, so bear with me. Okay, last question. In the last 2 weeks, have you been feeling less motivated to get up in the morning? Yes or no? Okay, so whoever is ready, you can actually add up your points. So any yes to a question is considered 1 point. So there is a total of 9 questions. So the minimum score will be 0. The maximum score will be 9. So anyone would like to share their total points? You can actually unmute yourself to share, or if you are uncomfortable, it's also okay not to share lah. Yeah, we respect your privacy also. So anyone would like to share? Okay, if not, right, I just tell you the conclusion lah. So if your score is more than 5 points, so your score, if it's more than 5 points, you are likely to be feeling more stressed than usual. And I would like to say that should these feelings persist, please do seek advice from your family doctor or professionals that is involved in the care of your care recipient. I would also like to highlight that while most caregivers are efficient in managing their care recipient conditions, usually caregivers also tend to neglect their own needs lah. So it is important to look after yourself before you can take good care of your loved ones. Okay, let's go on. Okay, next is the tips on managing your stress. Number 1, to take good care of yourself. Give yourself frequent breaks to rest before continuing the long caregiving process. You may consider respite care to help take care of your care recipient during your break. The next tip would be to find time for your personal life. So spend some time with your friends to unwind and recharge. The next tip is to learn to appreciate yourself. So learn to focus on your success. You may not be the perfect caregiver, but you are doing your best. Next tip is to get support from your family. So seek help from your family members with various tasks to ensure some personal time for yourself. And last tip is to plan your finances. So financial difficulties can most likely lead us to having stress. So we need to plan our budget and check out various financial assistance schemes that can help support our load. Okay, next we will share more on managing negative emotions that caregiver might be experiencing, such as depression, anger, and feelings of guilt. So it can also be challenging, especially if you need to balance a job, family, and housework on top of caring for the person who is ill. It may even lead you to feeling stressed, angry, and feeling guilty. So let us start with depression first. Okay, caregiver depression. So depression is dangerous. Depression endangers the caregiver's health and well-being and can affect our own care recipients' recovery. So depression can increase the risk of developing illnesses too, such as in the major disease category, such as particularly heart disease. So therefore, it is important to know how to manage this emotion called depression. So how to know if you are having depression? So we have listed out some symptoms that might suggest that you might have depression. So if you are feeling sad, anxious, or empty, feelings of hopelessness, feelings of guilt, feelings like being helplessness, if you have loss of interest or enjoyment in hobbies and activities that you used to do, like you're feeling like no energy, always feeling tired, slowed down, you can't concentrate, or you can't remember things or make decisions, like you have problems with sleeping, loss of appetite, you find yourself like you lost a lot of weight, and then or also if you gain more weight, or you have thoughts about death or suicide, or you have any suicidal attempts. And lastly, if you are feeling restless and always feeling irritated, so these are some of the symptoms that might suggest you have depression. So if you have 5 or more of these symptoms that I have just shared for more than 2 weeks, you might have depression. So make an appointment and talk to a doctor, a psychiatrist, or psychologist. So here are some tips to cope with depression. Number 1 is to avoid being burnt out. So set aside time for yourself. So for example, right, you can consider doing more of what you enjoy, such as spending time in nature, listening to music. So this one is varies individually. So just consider doing more of what you enjoy. And then you can also try exercising, as it has mood boosting effects and relieve stress. Tip number 2 is to think about the best way to express your emotion, or you regulate it so you can feel better. So for example, right, you can try to work off the feeling by going for a run, or even talk to a professional friend or family member about the challenges you face and explore ways to manage your stress. Okay, tip number 3, make use of respite care opportunities. So reason being, right, you must rest so that you can care for your loved one better. So we will be sharing some of the resources at the end of the presentation. Okay, tip number 4 is when handling a difficult task, make it easier by listening to music. So listening to music can help in relaxation and lighten up your mood. So you can consider that too. And lastly, make and keep doctor's appointment to maintain your own health. Okay, let's go on. Okay, next negative emotion that I would like to share is very common. It is called anger. So as a caregiver, you may feel trapped because of your care recipient's illness. It's actually natural to feel frustrated or angry, but showing it openly to your care recipient will not improve the situation. However, at the same time, it is also not healthy to keep those feelings to yourself too. So how do you cope with anger? So here are some tips. First tip is exercise. So example, you can take a walk to cool down. And then tip number 2 is to go to a private corner or room and take out your anger on a big pillow. But of course, be sure that you don't suffocate yourself. And then tip number 3 is to express your anger and frustration by writing down your feelings instead. Okay, tip number 4, don't blame your care recipient for the situation you are in. So you need to try to separate the person from the condition. For example, it is for example, is the illness and not the care recipient. So the illness is the reason for the difficulties and the challenges both of you are facing. So you need to separate the person from the condition. Okay. Tip number 5 is to join a support group for caregivers. So joining a support group, right, it can provide opportunities for you to share your feelings openly. So group members will actually understand how you feel, and no one will actually make you feel guilty because everyone has the same problems. So they may even offer practical, effective advice or solutions. And also research also have shown that support groups can actually help caregiver deal with the situation better. And then we also another tip is to make an appointment with a therapist family counselor, or spiritual advisor. But if you are doing this, right, if possible, make one for yourself and a separate one for your care recipient. Okay. Next, I am going to share with you on feelings of guilt. So, some people have these feelings of guilt. Even if you are doing everything well, you may think that you are not doing enough. So you always feel guilty. So if you are constantly feeling negative about yourself, these feelings of guilt can actually lead to burnout. And then when you are unhappy, you may even look for excuses to be angry. So this caregiver role is very challenging. Like you may want perfect result for everything you do, but sometimes you will need to realize that it might not be possible. So don't be too harsh on yourself. So how do you cope with feelings of guilt? So you might want to try this at least once every day. You tell yourself this. You tell yourself how much you are helping the person in your care. You tell yourself that even if you don't do everything well, you are doing everything with love. And I'm sure that the one you are caring for will feel for it. And then lastly, you can also tell yourself that you are improving your caregiving skills and showing compassion. So I hope that these 3 reminders, if you practice it, you will allow yourself to feel better each day. Okay. Next, we will discuss about physical burden. So other than the negative emotions such as depression, anger, and feeling of guilt that many caregivers are facing, caregivers might also experience physical stress, physical burden. So these are some of the symptoms you might experience, such as insufficient sleep, feeling tiredness, fall sick more often, suffer from skin rashes, backaches, colds, or flu that won't go away. So all these are reminders from your body to ask you to take care of yourself. So how do we deal with it? Again, here are some tips. So tip number 1 is to take short rest in the day to get enough sleep. Tip number 2, let friends or family know that you welcome help. Allow them to help with respite care. Many caregivers may feel bad asking for help. However, those caregivers who are able to develop personal and social support usually tend to cope better. So with the help of others, they might even come up with better care plan or strategies to care for your loved one. Okay, tip number 3 is to make a list of tasks and assign specific tasks to the people who offer to help. So think of ways to make your work easier. It is okay to allow some things to be left undone. So don't be too harsh on yourself. Tip number 4 is we also encourage caregiver training. So with caregiver training, caregiver can also learn, for example, correct technique of transferring or turning to prevent physical injury. Tip number 5 is don't set yourself unrealistic or difficult goals. You will feel even more tired or unproductive if you are unable to meet the goal. So we must learn how to say no if we know that we cannot do it yet. Yeah. Okay. Next, after discussing on the negative emotion and physical burden from caregiving, most importantly, how can the caregiver care for themselves? So if you don't take care of yourself, the care recipient may suffer too. So part of your responsibility towards the person in your care is to actually take care of yourself too. So I will be sharing on 3 tips for self-care. First is exercise. first is exercise. So exercise, right, improves your health and also gives you a sense of accomplishment. So have you heard about endorphins? So these endorphins, right, it's actually feel good hormones that are released during exercise, and this can actually elevate your mood. So that's why we encourage to exercise because of these endorphins also might help. And then lack of physical activity lifestyle also is a risk factor for all major diseases. So here are some of the exercises that you can adopt: jogging, brisk walking. Then if you cannot walk for 30 to 40 minutes at one go, you can also try to start slow, like 5 to 10 minute period lah.
How about Zumba?
Yeah, Zumba is good. Yeah, Zumba can also be one of the example. Yeah, and then Pilates and yoga also. Okay, next. Okay, next tip, the second tip is to eat right. So eat a wide range of foods in the right amounts to meet your daily nutritional needs. So let me share with you on my healthy plate by Health Promotion Board. I think some of you might recognize this picture on the right here, the image on the right. So this thing is called my healthy plate. So it is recommended to fill quarter plate with whole grains. So whole grains are rich in nutrients because they are not over processed and still keep in their original form. So whole grains are filled with vitamin E and E, minerals such as iron, zinc, and magnesium, and also our dietary fiber. So example of whole grain, right? It can be like 2 slices of wholemeal bread, your brown rice or red rice, your 2 wholemeal chapati, and also oatmeal. Next is to recommend to fill quarter plate with a good source of protein. So protein, right, it helps to build and repair body tissues and regulate bodily functions. So that's why you need protein in your diet to help to keep your muscles, bones, organs, skins, and nails healthy. So example of your protein would be your red meat, fish, seafood, eggs, and dairy products such as milk, yogurt, and cheese lah. So these are some of the examples of protein. Then we also have this called plant-based protein. So it also falls in this quarter plate lah of protein. So they are like your soy milk, tempeh, tofu, nuts, and beans lah. So they are also good protein sources too lah. So but always bear in mind, we need to monitor for portion sizes. So for example, right, the 1 serving of meat is usually like about your palm size amount. And then lastly, to fill half of your plate with fruits and vegetables. So fruits and vegetables are naturally low in calories, fat, and sodium. So they are good. They are also rich in dietary fiber, vitamins, minerals, and also antioxidants. So what are the benefits of eating fruits and vegetables? A diet rich in fruit and vegetables can protect you against many diseases such as heart disease and stroke. So the high water and fiber content helps with constipation. So anyway, Health Promotion Board also recommends 2 servings of fruit and 2 servings of vegetables daily. So to ensure that you can achieve that, it is advisable to keep like apples, orange, papaya, pear, and banana, or your favorite foods in the kitchen. Okay. Next. Okay. Okay, the last self-care tip for caregiver is actually meditation. So our journey as caregiver can be less stressful if we practice meditation. So most people think meditation is about clearing your mind of thoughts. But instead of clearing your mind, it is also good to actually observe your thoughts, but also bear in mind that there are no right or wrong thoughts. So here are the 7 easy steps of meditation. So the thing is that you try not to, don't focus on any of your thoughts, but don't force yourself to stop thinking as well lah. So an easy way to do that, right, is to actually label each thought. So if let's say you are thinking, right, you can actually each thought when it comes, right, you can actually label it like sad thought, happy thought, angry thought, and then you let the thought go and label the next one that appears. So do you want to try this meditation? It's just a short one lah. We can try one. I play background music for this. Okay, sorry. Let me know how to stop share. Give me a moment. Wait. I try. Can everyone hear the music? Not here. Give me a moment. Okay. Is this background music okay? If you don't like it, I can change to another music. Okay, let us try, okay? It will be good if you can participate this. Okay, I hope everybody is ready. Okay, first step is to sit up straight on a chair or a big firm pillow also. Just be comfortable. Okay, then you can close your eyes. Okay, everyone close your eyes. I will not close my eyes because I need to give instructions. So close your eyes for a while. Okay, next, as you listen to this music, you inhale, breathe in slowly and deeply. Tense up your entire body, arms, legs and your buttocks. Crunch up the muscles in your face too. Hold on for this for about 2 to 3 seconds. And then exhale and relax. Okay. Let us try again. As you inhale, breathe in slowly and deeply. Hold on for 2 seconds to 3 seconds and exhale and relax. Okay. And when you exhale and relax, you relax your shoulder as well. Breathe normally and be aware of your thoughts. Okay, let's try again. Close your eyes, still closing your eyes. Inhale, breathe in slow and deeply. Exhale and relax. Okay, thank you for your participation. You may open your eyes now. Okay. So I hope everybody feel more relaxed now. You can actually try these steps at home lah. Okay. Next, here are the caregiver support groups that we would like to share. So we know that caregiving is a demanding, difficult job and that no one is equipped to do it alone. So it is essential for caregiver to get appropriate help if needed. So some of the support group are, as you can see on the right side, is the caregiver to caregiver program, where caregiver actually provide training to each other. So we have also put the contact number and website. If any one of you is interested, you can feel free to check it out. We also provide the hotline number for you guys to contact lah. And then just want to reinforce that there are many benefits which caregivers could gain by participating in support group work. So for example, it can provide opportunities for you to share your feelings openly. You can actually gain mutual support from one another through the sharing of personal experiences. So workshop also will offer practical, effective advice and or solutions so caregiver can learn how to manage or even overcome caregiving struggles. With this, I have come to the end of my presentation. Okay, thank you. Feel free to give us the feedback. We will provide the link in the chat box later. And then I would also want to share with you that you can also join us for our next health talk. But our next health talk, right, it will not be next week Monday because it's a public holiday. So our next health talk would be on the 31st October. But it's actually the same topic, but it will be presented in Mandarin version lah. Okay, last but not least, let me introduce you our program again. So we are actually from SingHealth Community Nursing. It's a program that if let's say you have any healthcare concern, you can actually arrange an appointment with us. If you got any questions to ask also, you can actually dial us at 6576-1672, or you can also email us at community.nurse@sgh.com.sg. Okay, now now we come to the Q&A part. So if you have any question on this presentation on caregiver stress, feel free to ask us. We will try our best to answer your question. Thank you.
May I ask you,
Yeah, you may ask.
Yes. Do the government or any section have the statistic figures of how many caregivers in Singapore?
Hello, hi. So you were asking whether is there any statistics on how many caregivers are there in Singapore?
Roughly.
Oh, so far I haven't come across such statistic. But yeah, it's a good statistic if they have lah. Then we will know how many caregivers are actually affected lah. Because right now we have an aging population, and then I would feel that there will be a lot of caregivers. The figure would be very high. Yeah, but yeah.
I asked this question because I feel very sorry and have compassion for the caregivers, for the sick. Some they might don't know, don't feel really sickly, but I think the caregivers, since they are healthy, normal, but they have to pay I think it's very difficult for them, and I think like love really help a lot, but sometimes love very hard to say this kind of thing. Okay, thank you for the talk. At least I learned things and like more about caregiver.
Thank you, Miss Christina.
If you don't mind, may I ask you another question?
Yeah, sure. You may ask.
Then how about nurses and all those people working in like old age home, a nursing home? How they manage? I think especially in this pandemic season. I think they are very stressful, right?
Hi, Miss Christina. Hi. Yeah. So for us, right, we actually have this for ourselves, right, we have this my institution have this peer support program. So with this type of program, like we support each other among our peers. So we actually manage our stress, manage our, like, we can cope better lah with this program in place in our institution. Yeah, thank you. You are so thoughtful. You are being very thoughtful.
Actually, I think I almost pray for the medical people every day, especially in this season. I feel like crying now. So sorry. Take care. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, anyone have any other questions? If not, we can end the presentation early.
Thank you very much for the talk. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, the link is up in the chat group. So kindly help us to give a feedback so on how we can improve our future health talk. Okay, thank you everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I already done the survey.
Thank you.